I love how you kind of mentioned that you give some ideas on how to craft the birthday wish.
To me, the birthday wish is your gift from the universe. If it's the most spiritual day of our year, we're really in alignment. The universe is really open. The spirits, whatever, whoever is in alignment with, it's all right there. So let's use our birthday as a way to wish for what we want in the coming year. And unlike a New Year's resolution where, okay, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to, eat healthy or whatever. It's not like that. This is really like, your birthday is a way for you to take stock of the life you're living and to ask yourself, is this the life I want to be living? If it is, great. And if it isn't, what do I want to change in the coming year to help get more into alignment with what I want and the kind of life I want to live?
Are you ready to live a life with enough time, money, and energy? Have relationships and connections that delight you? Are you ready for the extraordinary life you know you've been missing? If so, then this is the place for you. I'm a best-selling author, coach, consultant, and speaker who's worked in technology for over 2 decades. I'm a leader at transforming people and organizations from operating in fear, obligation, and guilt to running off joy, ease, and love. It's time for Engineering Emotions and Energy with me, Justin Wenck, Ph.D. All right, today we are going to be talking about how shifting how you spend just one day of the year can change your life and possibly the world. What is that day? It's your birthday, of course. And to help us with this topic, I've got Tamar Hurwitz-Fleming, who is a birthday aficionado who believes that celebrating our birthdays with intention can be transformational. In her award-winning book, How to Have a Happy Birthday, and its new companion workbook, Tamar invites you to take charge of your birthday so that you can experience more meaning, fulfillment, and joy. So welcome to the show from beautiful Barcelona, Tamar. Good to meet you. Yeah, welcome.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks for the warm welcome. I'm delighted to be here with you today.
It's so great to kind of have you on because discovered you at a very interesting time, like just about a week or 2 weeks before my birthday, which is now about two weeks ago. And so it was really, I don't know, great synchronicity, great serendipity, a little bit of the I think you like to call it the birthday spirit already starting to work its magic. And I guess we'll probably get into like we were emailing a little bit just before this. I said, I had some headwinds from my birthday this year, and not the first time in my life that I've had some challenging birthday related stuff. And that's one of the things like you talk about in the book is how to overcome some challenges that can be coming up on the birthday. But why is the birthday just so important in general? Because it's like I think some of us, we know that it's important, but sometimes because of that, there can be a hesitancy because, man, there's a lot of stuff in Western society, the stuff that's good and nourishing, we kind of get programmed to go like, well, this must be garbage, this must be awful, or it's not for me. I'm not deserving of that. So why is the birthday just so special and powerful?
Well, I believe birthdays are the most spiritual day of our year. It's the day that our life began. And I can think of nothing more spiritual and more in alignment than acknowledging that anniversary every year that it rolls by. I like to say that birthdays are also our personal new year. They're a major holiday. And just like any other major holiday, for it to be a success, we have to plan for it in advance. Ideally take the day off work or our other responsibilities so that we can really put ourselves in the center of our day and plan for it and put ourselves in the center so that we can have a wonderful connection to ourselves and celebrate ourselves and then receive the love and the good energy from other people because people want to give us love and good energy on our birthdays. It's just this natural instinct we have.
Yeah, it is really amazing sometimes when people are sort of attuned to birthdays. Like, I don't know, there's a little bit of, it gets a little unfortunate, as getting older where it's like you stop getting carded when you make certain purchases. But I traveled the day after my birthday, and so they check your ID when you check a bag. And the woman checked it, and it was the day after, and she was like, "Oh, happy birthday! It's the day after your birthday." And it was just like really cool to kind of get that that acknowledgement of like, "Oh yeah, it was my birthday. Thank you so much."
I believe that because we all get a birthday. I mean, birthdays are really the one thing I can think of. The one thing I can think of that's an equal opportunity provider. We all get one 24-hour period a year to celebrate ourselves and to put ourselves in the center. And so we all know what it's like to have a birthday. Some of us have happy birthdays, some of us don't. But for those of us that understand that birthdays are powerful and can be so positive, we're excited for other people when it's their birthday. So the woman behind the counter, when she was happy for you, that was a real genuine feeling she had because she knows what it's like when it's her birthday and she's the center of her world.
That's reminding me of I didn't do it this year, but for many years I would play this song from this punk rock group called the Vandals, and I think it's called "Happy Birthday to Me." And one of the lines is 24 hours of wishing me well, 364 days I'm in hell. Oh well, happy birthday to me. And then also another line is like, "Thanks, Mom didn't have an abortion," which is it's harsh, but I mean that is something. It's like there was a bit of a like getting to the gratitude of like I'm here because a lot of things came into being of like to allow each of us to be here. Like it
Totally.
that's a miracle. That's a miracle, really,
It
whenever you
is a
think about it.
miracle. It is a miracle. Each one of us, Justin, is a miracle. The fact that we're here at all is a miracle. The fact that you were born to be you is a miracle. And that I was born to be me is a miracle. And so that's worth celebrating. That's why birthdays are so spiritual.
Yeah. And I think that is one of the things that's amazing about the birthday is that encouragement to kind of realize, how lucky and magical we are, and go like, well, let me make some wishes or do some magic. And one of the really cool things that you mentioned to me, and that you also talk about in your book, is this concept of the birthday altar. Would you like to maybe describe maybe start talking about like what an altar. Well, maybe we'll start with what an altar is, and then what that is. Yeah, then we'll talk about the birthday altar specifically.
Yeah. So one of the things that I started to notice, because the book that I wrote was based on conversations with many other people, but also a lot of observations about my own birthday and the energy that would come as the birthday approached, and sort of this wave of energy that would build, and then my birthday would happen, and then the wave would sort of dissipate. And one of the things that I started to pay attention to was the power of birthday eve, the night before our birthday. It's kind of a freebie. It's sort of
Hmm.
like the calm before the storm, I mean, if you think of Christmas Eve in relation to Christmas Day, it's very analogous. So that there's this energy building, it's lovely. And what I started to do on birthday eve, and I recommend this to all your listeners because I think it's a really wonderful thing to do, is to decorate your home and put up a happy birthday banner and create a birthday altar. And a birthday altar is as simple or as complicated as you want it to be, but it's a space in your home, ideally someplace that you see all the time, that you've cleared off, and then you start to build and create with your favorite photos, your favorite mementos, flowers, crystals, candles, whatever you want that reflects the love you have for yourself, reflects the wishes that you might have for the coming year, and create a special area, a birthday altar for yourself. And I like to do this on birthday eve. It's sort of like turning on the light switch for my birthday energy. And then the morning of my birthday, I like to sit in front of my altar for a few minutes and just have some quiet meditative moments, some self-reflection, some gratitude to help get my day started. Because I believe that because birthdays are so spiritual, that it's really good when we can, if we are so motivated, when we can sit in a mindful space at the beginning of our day to kind of get centered within, tune into our spirit, and then go into the outer world and have all those festivities or whatever it is we choose to do on our birthday.
Yeah, I love that. And I don't know, to me, like, because there might be some people listening that are just like an altar. That's what weird people are into. And I'm now one of those weird people. Like, I mean, it's like, but to me, like an altar, it's just an area where you take objects of intention, and then you occasionally put your attention on those objects of intention. And our most powerful stuff is our attention and intention. That's really our
Yes.
world is created from that, whether we're aware or not. And this is just like you're consciously choosing, like, I'm going to celebrate me by taking these objects
Yes.
that have to do with, me, my birth, and that have meaning, and then putting that. Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. And I still actually have mine up. I haven't gotten around to like taking it down. So I still have a balloon, and I'll post a picture on social media of my birthday
Nice.
altar here, I'm sure.
So this is the first time
Yeah.
you did that. So how did that feel for you? I want to hear. How was that when you created that? It was your birthday. Did you do it on your birthday eve?
Yeah, and I think what I also did was I've lately gotten into doing like a little bit of a ritual on the full moon and the new moon. Where one is about, what do you want to bring in, and then the other one is like, what do you want to let go? I think it's the full moon is what you want to let go of because it's full. It's time to let it go, let stuff go. And then on the new, so I was like, I'm just going to take this new moon ritual of what I want to bring in, and I'm just going to, do it with the power of the birthday altar. And
Nice.
it was just kind of like really cool to kind of go like, oh, I want to bring this in and that in, and
Nice.
do it with the candles and the other elements and things like that. And yeah,
And
so
did
I'm
it
kind of.
help? Did you feel like it helped raise, like fluff your aura, that it helped, raise your birthday spirit and get you excited for the day that was to come? I mean, did you feel like it put you more into the birthday?
Feeling overwhelmed by the daily grind? Imagine if you could pause, reset, and truly connect with a calmer, more fulfilled you. It's not just a dream, it's absolutely possible. Hi, I'm Justin, and I invite you to discover the life-changing techniques in my book, Engineered to Love. Right now, I'm offering a free chapter complete with guided audios that have already helped so many people find peace amidst the chaos. These aren't just any techniques. They're transformative practices designed to help you love yourself and engage deeply with the present moment, without even having to close your eyes to the world around you. So join us at engineeredtolove.com/sample and access your free guided session. It's time to bust the busyness and embrace the joy, ease, and love in your everyday life. Don't wait. Start your journey to a more relaxed and recharged you today, because you deserve to live a life you love. Visit engineeredtolove.com/sample. See you there.
I feel like it did because like I had some significant headwinds this birthday. Um and so I think it was about a couple days before my birthday, I get a message from a random cousin that like I never talked to this cousin like ever. It's like I've probably only seen him a few times, but he goes, "Hey, is everything okay with your sister? I don't know. I saw something. Just wanted to see if see if that's okay." And I tell him, I'm like, I don't have any contact with her, so I don't know anyway. So for probably most of my adult life, I've spent more time not in contact with my sister than in contact with her. Um, but there's definitely been a number of my birthdays where it's like some shenanigans seem to like pop up where it's like there's a little bit of disruption coming from her in some way attempting. I'm just like, well, what's
Right around your birthday?
yeah. I've often
Oh,
noticed there's a little bit
interesting.
of like trying to like
Interesting.
yeah, where something would come up, like she would get into trouble or she would try to poke at me or something around. And so I was
Sabotage your
just,
birthday joy.
yes, yes. And I was like, well, what is this? What's going on? And then I saw that my dad had actually called me, which me and my dad don't. We have what I would like to call a Hallmark texting relationship, where if it's something you'd send a Hallmark card, we would do a courtesy like Happy Valentine's Day, Happy Arbor Day, Happy this. But I don't think we were even really calling for our birthdays these past like couple years. And so I'm like, oh boy, I was like, what's this about? Um, so call him, and it turned out my sister had actually passed away.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah. So
Wow, that's a big deal.
yeah, and so she passed away basically 2 days, yeah, 2 days before my birthday. And I was like, oh wow. So
Wow.
I was
That's a
like,
big
okay,
deal.
that's a big disruption.
Yeah.
Um, so I scheduled a flight to go down, and so that's why I was at the airport the day after my birthday, was to
I
fly
see.
down to where I'm from in Orange County to be with my dad and to help with arrangements and things like that. Um, Yet I had still had plans for my birthday, like with a lady friend of mine had planned a whole bunch of things. She had asked me, a couple weeks ahead of time, like, what would you like to do? And I was like, well, I like water, hot tubs, and these are the kind of food I enjoy. And we got to go to a place where I could hot tub and cold plunge and all sorts of stuff. And she brought in a private chef to cook like like a 3-course meal with a lot of like my favorite items. And it was
Sounds
an
great.
incredible it was an incredible day. And it was a lot of the stuff in your book about like just make that your sacred day, like carve it out and put
Yeah.
the effort in and like go for it. Try to put out stuff like that can be there afterwards. So it really helped in like giving me the permission and the encouragement to like, even with all that, it's like I'm gonna celebrate my day. I'm gonna enjoy it and I'm gonna let the magic happen. And it really did. It was really able to like genuinely enjoy it and celebrate me. Um, and I don't know, it's like now I'm even more excited about next year because it's like I've
Right.
got like the tools and I could do even more
Right.
planning.
Yeah.
Um, well, and a question I have for you um, is a little bit of like, what's your thoughts on? Because some people will do like half birthdays. I think often people that have like a birthday on Christmas or something else or something like, what are your thoughts on? I don't know, is it a do-over or it's I'm going to do it on a different time? Like, I'm curious about because you do have a lot of like the birthday is so
Hmm.
sacred. Do not
Hmm.
do whatever you can for that day.
Yeah.
But what about other days to bring in?
Well, I acknowledge my half birthday. I was born January 9th, right after New
Okay.
Year's, and it's always
Yeah.
winter time. And, my sister was born in the late summer and she would have swim parties. I could never have that. So I would acknowledge July 9th as my half birthday. I wouldn't do anything. I just acknowledge this is my halfway point.
Hmm.
I think the birthday, I don't care when your birthday is. I know some birthdays are more challenging. I had someone actually write to me and say they had the worst birthday in the world. I said, well, what is it? And she said January 2nd, because it was the day
Hmm.
after New Year's and everybody was just wiped out. Nobody wanted to party. And in my mind, I'm thinking, great, January 2nd, you get to extend your holiday, right? By an extra day because you're taking the day off work
Yeah.
ideally. And yeah, there are challenges if your birthday's on Christmas or some other big holiday. But then it's your responsibility to work even harder to find the ways to nourish yourself on your birthday so that it can feel sacred and it can feel special. And I understand that if your birthday falls on Christmas, you're not going to have all of your friends there at your party. It's probably not going to happen. Hopefully, you'll have some
Yeah.
family there, and hopefully, that's a good thing. And if it's not a good thing and you're there with your family on your birthday, find some time alone, maybe in the morning, maybe in the evening, at some point to get away, even if it's just to go for a walk, even if it's just to go take yourself into the other room and make some sort of, birthday collage, have some creative time, put on your music, dance. Like there are ways that you can raise your spirit and honor yourself, even if you're in a situation or if it's the day of the year that's less than ideal. But it doesn't mean that your birthday needs to be diminished. And it doesn't mean that you get to have less of a birthday than somebody with their birthday on another day. It just means you have to work harder to
Yeah.
share the day with the holiday or with the other people in your life and to really put up the boundaries if that's what you want to say, okay, this is my time today within this day. So I know that it can be challenging. I think that it's all about alignment. Think of a total
Hmm.
eclipse. I don't know if you've
Hmm.
ever seen a total eclipse, but it really requires perfect alignment. And you could
Yeah.
say, well, is there going to be a total eclipse if I'm 200 miles outside of the totality zone? And the answer is no. You're going to get a partial total eclipse. It's not going to be total,
Yeah.
it's partial. So you're going to miss it. It's just not the
Yeah.
same. So
Yeah.
celebrating any other day. Now, having said that, if your birthday falls, let's say on Christmas Day, and you're turning 50 and you want to have
Hmm.
a big old party with the disco ball, have it 3 weeks before, have it a month before. I like to do it before versus after. Personally, I think it's the energy that
Yeah.
builds to the birthday. But there are ways that you can be creative to celebrate yourself leading up to it, but don't ignore the day itself.
Yeah. I love that. This is really, it's all about, yeah, do that in addition to stuff on your actual birthday, not instead of, but this is in addition to.
Exactly.
And I do feel like it is like one of the days that, uh, more so than any other day that there's the permission to like, yeah, you can go big. You can ask for more. And I really do believe that this is a crucial skill that humanity really needs to learn is how to ask for what they want to really get into the giving and receiving and not this like,
Absolutely.
oh, I have to earn it. I have to work for it.
Right.
And then maybe I'll
Right.
then maybe I'll get bestowed. Um, because my vision for the future with robotics and AI is humans aren't going to need to do anything. So like every day is going to effectively possibly be like our birthday where it's like stuff can just be done for us. But if you don't know what the fuck you want and you don't have that practice, then no one's going to be able to enjoy it. And it's like I've definitely had many years of my life where I wasn't able to really enjoy my birthday. And I think there's
Right.
many people um, But now it's like, man, I've come a long way. And even in the face of, of significant loss in my family, I was still able to enjoy my birthday. And I'm wanting to make, eventually like to make almost every day kind of like the birthday thing where it's like I'm giving, I'm receiving, I'm allowing things
Yeah.
to come to me, and I'm not afraid to
Yeah.
go like ask for like, what I want or be joyful or receive joy
Yeah.
from other people.
That's
Um,
right. It gives us birthdays give us permission to be selfish, right? And
yeah,
we know that that's not, that's a four-letter word to many people, but we know what you and I understand what that word means when we say selfish, centered upon self, centered
yeah,
within self, having a positive, loving relationship with self. That's what I mean when I use this word selfish.
I
And so
love that.
birthdays allow us to be in the center of ourself one day a year. Again, it gives us permission to do that. And a lot of us don't know how to do that. That's why a lot of us don't even like our birthdays. It's like,
Hmm.
I'm so used to giving, giving, giving. I don't even know what I want. I don't even know how to receive. I don't even know how to begin untangling all of that. But it's okay. Try anyway.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
have to go from 0 to 100 in one birthday, but you can have a happier birthday from wherever you are on what I call the birthday spectrum. Some of us are
Mm,
birthday positive and some of us are birthday avoidant.
yeah.
And some of us are somewhere in between those extremes and or those points on the spectrum. And so if you're somebody who's birthday avoidant or doesn't really, doesn't enjoy their birthdays, never thought it meant much, go ahead and practice making your birthday happier the next time you have a birthday and see what you can do for yourself and see how it can open the spirit in a way that's healing and nourishing so that yes, you can take that energy into the rest of your year or at least put it into your next birthday. I spoke with a woman recently who had a birthday. I said, "How was it?" She said it was great. I told my husband what kind of restaurant I wanted to go to. I told him what kind of gift I wanted, and we had a great day. And she said, now those seem like pretty simple things to ask for, a gift in a restaurant. But she said, it was really empowering to allow myself to ask for what I wanted and to get it. And so when
Yeah.
we practice on our birthdays, putting ourselves in the center of our lives, how does that inform the rest of our lives? I, you know, I always say if you celebrate your birthday, I believe you celebrate your birthday really well,
Hmm.
according to my recipe for it, I'm glad when it's over. It's like, okay, good. I'm glad that's over. I showed up, I did my best, I radiated at full wattage. It's over. Let's put it in its place and wait until next year. I don't want to celebrate my birthday every day. It doesn't
Yeah.
make it special if I celebrate my birthday every
Yeah.
day. However, what I do want to do every day, to your point,
Hmm.
is I want to take that energy I experienced on my birthday, being open to the world around me and open to the positive energy and receiving the good energy that's out there for all of us. And I want to continue that receptivity through the rest of the year so that I can be wide eyed and in wonder and have that soul radiance come through and have that joy come in. That's a practice. That's a practice. But at least on my birthday, I know that I can show up that way.
I really like that. Just that it's that practicing to show up fully. I kind of want to like return to the moon. It has phases. It's not a full moon every night. It's not
Right,
like boom, I'm in
right,
my glory. Look at all of me. It's like it does it
right.
once a month, and then at some point it's like I need to hide away, but it's still showing up. It's just like, I need a little quiet time. I need a little quiet time. I'm going to be a little dimmer,
That's
and
right.
yeah, but it's always showing up as best as it wants to, and I feel
Yeah,
like that's too often we diminish ourselves for various reasons, and I think it's about this. Well, yeah, what if I don't diminish myself? At least one day a
right,
year, I'm gonna
right.
show up, fully be me,
Yeah,
possibly make the bigger ass.
yeah.
Um, I'm
And
curious.
people will
Yeah.
support us. And that's the thing that's really important for everybody to
It's a gift because
understand.
they're like, oh, I get to be of service. Yeah, they get to be
Exactly.
generous. Yeah.
Exactly. And I want to be because it's your birthday and you're special on your birthday. I want to show up and support you with that. So that's something that people need to understand is that people want to be happy for you on your birthday. People want to give to you. Sometimes we
Yeah.
just get in our own way and we sabotage our birthday joy, subconsciously or not, because we don't know how to receive that kind of good energy.
Yeah, and that joy is contagious, like multiple ways from other people helping to celebrate and from the being celebrated. Like it
Yeah.
really is kind of a cool thing when it's sort of just allowed to cross-pollinate and come
Yeah.
to fruition. And I'm curious, so you spend a lot of time in Barcelona. Are there any differences that you've noticed or heard of in how birthdays are celebrated? Because I know when I lived in Germany for a bit. Usually in the US, it's people bring you all of the stuff. But I believe in Germany, it's the responsibility of when it's your birthday, you're the one that's supposed to bring the cake for everybody. Like it's on you to bring the cake and serve it to everybody else and all that stuff. So it's like it's kind of flipped. And so I was
Yeah.
a little curious if you've noticed maybe in other parts of the world or things like that of it's like, well, that's different, but it's still in the spirit.
It's still, I haven't spent my birthday here in Barcelona yet. I don't live here full time. I'm just able to come and go at various times of the year. I just celebrated a friend's birthday though, and it was very normal. It felt very
Yeah.
familiar. There was nothing unusual about it. You go out to lunch, you go out to dinner, and the cake comes. I mean, the only thing that was a little strange is they brought out the cake. We were actually at a lunch. Lunch is a big meal here in Spain. They brought out the cake and it was like old sparkling cake, and nobody sang. And I was filming my friend, but it was like, where's the song? Like, why aren't we singing? That was the thing that was a little strange to me. And so I sent the video to my friend afterwards, like, here's the video. And I should have started singing, but I was just I was following the lead of the Spaniards that were at the table, whose culture it was. And I wasn't going to start, And she said, yeah, I thought it was strange that nobody sang to me, but she'd gone out to dinner that, so I was correct in acknowledging that something was a little off there, but she went out to dinner that night.
Did she still blow out the candles?
Yeah, it was one of those sparkler candles, like almost like a firework. So she just watched it dwindle down. She didn't even have to blow it. So it was a little strange that way too. Yeah. But that night at dinner, she went out with her family and they sang to her and she could blow up the candles. So the traditions felt very similar. But what I liked, what you said about the custom in Germany that you bring your own cake. I was just on a podcast the other day about aging and about what are some things that people who are older can do, especially if they're in a assisted living community and no one who they know is really around. I didn't say this on the podcast, and I'm excited to say it now because there's an idea that came to me afterwards, which I actually write about in a different context. But bring your own cake. If you're in a situation where, let's say, junior year abroad, and you don't know very many people, you have some schoolmates, invite them over for cake and you supply the cake. In other words, you don't know enough people to start enlisting them and inviting them to help you celebrate, but you can invite them over so that you can celebrate yourself with them. And you'll provide the cake, you provide the beverage, the festivities and all of that. But I think bringing your own cake is actually a good way for people who don't have the same kind of maybe social circle of others that'll do it for them. So just because someone's not there to bring you a cake doesn't mean you can't have cake. Doesn't mean you can't have cake on your own, Doesn't mean you can't go to a restaurant and tell them it's your birthday so that they can bring the cake to you. There's all sorts of ways. And I think the cake's really important. I don't eat cake very often, but I love it on my birthday.
What's your favorite kind of cake? I'm like, I think I kind of remember you do list, but for our listeners, what's your
strawberry
favorite?
It's like strawberry cream cake. It's just, you get that white cake with the strawberry and the cream. It's just so good. Oh my gosh. Really good.
What I like about your suggestion of, if you're somewhere new with new people, like, supply the cake, supply the structure. Because I think a lot of times people get afraid of just like, they don't want to like mess something up. So it's like, if they don't know, like, especially if you're not from there or new, they're just like, well, I don't know what this person likes to, because, Germans have this, they're often known for being like kind of cold, like that they're, a little standoffish. And, when I was working there, my manager, who was actually, who was Norwegian, he wasn't actually a German. He explained to me, he's like, well, Germans, they're actually very friendly. Just, they want to give you space to get acclimatized. So when you're ready, you come and say like, I'm ready to do it. And then they're going to be all over you, but they're just going to give you time to get settled and do your thing. And I found that to be so, because they're actually a very warm, considerate people, but it's sort of like, if you're not aware of how their consideration works and that they're giving you space so that you can do your thing, it might be like, well, they're just cold and they're not friendly. But I think all cultures kind of have those little cross things, but usually when you go like, hey, here's what's going on, here's how it works, and here's how the thing, I think people are going to love to show up no matter what it is. So it's just like, hey, I'm celebrating my birthday, I'm going to have a cake, all you got to do is just show up, and I'm going to have some drinks, and sure, just about nobody will say no to that if they can make it.
That's right.
So I kind of love that.
That's right.
Well, I'm trying to think, like, So what inspired you to do the workbook, which it's one of those I was like, oh man, I can't wait for my birthday. I wish it was sooner because I want to do this workbook and go through and answer the questions and set the intentions and figure out what do I really want and what's important to me. What was sort of the inspiration for doing the workbook aspect of your
Well,
book?
the book, How to Have a Happy Birthday, has the workbook in the back. And there's the questions. There's not a lot of room for writing, maybe a little bit. And I realized that for people to really, people don't like to write in a book, but they will write in
Yeah.
a journal format. And so actually creating the workbook as a stand-aside companion to the book, um, allows people to dive deeply into the questions that are very thought-provoking, that are there to help you uncover what your resistance might be to your birthday, whether it's childhood experiences that were painful that shut you down to the birthday joy in the subsequent years, or is it your fear of aging and what you're losing as you age, and some questions around that. Because listen, as we age, we change. And a lot
Hmm.
of people, I hear women especially when they turn 40 and 50, they don't want to be celebrating their birthdays. They don't want to acknowledge they're a year older. And I think
Yeah.
that's really sad because there is power in aging. I'm 59. I love getting older. There are side
Hmm.
effects to getting older, like your body starts to change and you get certain aches and creaks that weren't there before. And that's just, as I like to say, I'm driving a 1966 model vehicle.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to be driving that 1966 model vehicle till I die. And so I better keep it tuned up and keep the tires inflated if I want it to be comfortable, if I want a comfortable ride at the end of my life. But aging is a big thing in this culture. And there's a lot of shame, particularly around women, around
Hmm.
aging, that we lose our value, we lose our worth, we lose our beauty, we lose our place. And I just don't buy it. And I think that for all of us that are afraid to name our age, we are unconsciously condoning a cultural myth that prevents women from maintaining their power as they age, and men too. And so I would
Yeah.
suggest that for those of you that feel that are resonating with what I'm saying, allow yourself to, name your age. I know a lot of our generation does already. I mean, I know that this age shaming is changing as our generation and those below us are aging, but at the same time, it's still a very prevalent issue for many people. This fear of
Yeah.
getting older. And so in the workbook, I talk about that. And one of the questions is, what are some things you don't have anymore that you had when you were younger? Like, let's talk about that. And is there a way to reclaim those things, or do we just have to feel grief and say goodbye to that version of ourselves and move on? But
Yeah.
let's pull it out. Let's have that conversation, because a lot of us don't realize that we actually feel grief that we are no longer our younger selves for a variety of reasons. And yet at the same time, there are so many benefits to aging. I am so much more confident and comfortable with who I am at the age of 59 than I was at the age of 29. I don't want to go backwards. And
Yeah.
there's just a lot of power to be mined as we age. And I believe, though, that it's up to us to empower ourselves. Nobody gets to define my power for me, regardless of
Hmm.
what my age is. And so there's just, that's just one area that I talk about in the workbook. But there's other things, even like, okay, you don't know what to do for your birthday. Name 3 places you would like to visit that are within a 2-hour drive. Name
Yeah.
3 people you would love to spend time with that you don't normally see. Name your 3 favorite cake flavors. Like, just start listing out some stuff. And then hopefully by the time you're done working on this workbook and investigating what has been your pain point with birthdays and what you can do to make them better, you actually get some ideas like, oh, I get it. This year I want to take a little mini road trip and go over to the next town with this one friend I barely see that I love, and come back and have my favorite cake. And, that there's ways to sort of map out and think about with intention what you might want your birthday experience to be. So the workbook has actually been really helpful to some people. I've been hearing back. It was published recently on my birthday, actually. So it's just been out a couple months. But I think it's something that if people are interested in having a happier birthday, this workbook is a great way to help. And you can you don't have to read the book to have the workbook be useful, by the way. The workbook
Oh
can
yeah.
be a standalone. Ideally, you are reading the book because there's a lot of insight into the birthday experience that might give you some aha moments about yourself.
Yeah.
But
Insights, ideas,
yeah,
possibilities. Well, and
yeah.
then there's also so many like, hey, be on the lookout for this, because sometimes when we have a habit of having a challenging birthday, we might be like, okay, I'm done. I'm ready to have a good birthday. But I don't know. I find that like with anything in life, the universe is often like, "Are you sure? Here's one more chance to do another round." And um,
Yeah. Yeah. So chapter 2 is all about the birthday blues. And I write
uh,
about this idea that, for those of us that don't like our birthdays, there's reasons for it, and that there's ways that we sabotage our birthday joy in the days and weeks leading up to our birthday. And so I really want to call attention to those things that we do sometimes subconsciously so that
yeah.
we can be mindful of them and say no. And I love it that you had something very intense and significant happen 2 days before your birthday that really was like, whoa, a really big deal. And you could still put up some healthy boundaries and just say, okay, and just for today, I'm still going to find my joy and manifest and make my joy.
And you also even talk about how, like, sometimes not everybody in your life that you would like to be on board with your birthday is going to be on board with it, and like how to handle that. Because is like my father has never been like the best at my birthday, and he was like he was even less so. But it's a little bit like that's who he is, and then he's got a lot going on with the tragic happenings that had just happened, and so it was like I didn't have those expectations for him at this point. And so then it was just sort of like, well, any little acknowledgement then is like, oh, well, that's just a nice extra. Whereas like in the
Right.
past where it's like, where's my big gift and the this and the that?
Totally.
And then it's like, wow, this is yours. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm happy to hear you say that because a lot of times, and naturally, we do have expectations that
Hmm.
people will show up for us a certain way, especially our parents. And
Yeah.
when that doesn't happen at any given point in our life journey, it
Hmm.
can be painful and heartbreaking and give us messages that I must not be that loved. I must not be that important. How could they not show up this one day a year for me? But what I'm hearing you say from a mature perspective is like, okay, I already know that this is how he is. So let me not have these expectations so that I'm not setting myself up for disappointment and the birthday blues. So we're going to
Yeah.
forget about needing anything from dad so that if something comes, that's great. But I don't need his energy on my birthday for me to have a happy birthday. I'm reclaiming that energy. I'm putting myself in the center and I'm going to father myself. I'm going to be my own inner
Hmm.
father on my birthday.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to take a responsibility for my own birthday, and it's going to be great because I'm creating, I'm putting the effort in because I'm worth it. And then then it's going to be great. And then if anything gets added, great. But if the stuff doesn't happen, great too. And
Yeah,
then
you
you
weren't
also talk a
expecting
lot
it.
about being flexible and how to be
Yes.
adaptable. Because even though there
Yes.
can be like weeks of planning, or like you said, for some of these like bigger, like 40th, 50th, 21st, it's like things don't always go as planned, and just to decide like I'm going to make the best of it.
That's right. That's right. And
Yeah.
the birthday energy changes is hour to hour. I find in the morning for me, I love my birthday mornings. Just love the promise of the day. And I find that as the day goes on, usually it's that hour around maybe 4 p.m. because I'm a
Hmm.
wintertime baby, the sun's starting to go down and depending on where I am, there's always a bit of a lull in my energy.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing that before then the evening festivities start. So I've learned how to work with just even the cycles of the day to harness and to, maybe at the 4 o'clock hour, I'm home taking a little nap. We're reading all the emails that have come in or the Facebook greetings or whatever it is that I can just take a little breather, before I go back out there. So, but yeah, every birthday is different and flexibility is good. And every birthday teaches us something different. I love it that this birthday taught you stuff that you can't wait for the next birthday. I had that same
Yeah.
experience. I know, especially, when I wrote my book, it took me many, many years to write because I would feel my birthday energy build.
Hmm.
November, December, it's like, oh my gosh, and da, 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 and I'll have all this inspired ideas come to
Yeah.
me. And then my birthday would happen and I'd still write. I wasn't thinking about my birthday in July.
Yeah.
But what would happen is I would go through my birthday experience and then it would be like, oh wow, this was a really heavy birthday because, one of my best friends, who's my cousin, was diagnosed with cancer a few days earlier, and another beloved cousin had died by suicide a couple weeks earlier. I mean, it was really heavy. And so this idea that I was going to be jolly and upbeat, it's like, well, I'm going to try, but folks, I've got a heavy heart. And so let's acknowledge that. And I wrote about that in my book. And actually, on that birthday, I wrote about that particular experience because we don't know what's going to happen on our birthday, but at
Yeah.
least we're showing up for ourselves and we're doing our best. And some birthdays are just going to be shitty. And if they are, that's
Hmm.
okay. Let them be what they are, move on. There's always tomorrow and there's always next year.
there's seasons to the year. There can be seasons
Yeah.
to our birthdays. There can be the shitty birthday
Yeah.
season. Then there can be the most amazing birthdays, and there could just be the meh, so,
Right. Right.
and just
Right.
allowing them to be because I like that they each have their lesson for us.
Yeah.
And it's really we get the most lesson out of it, the more we show up,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's like, just because we don't get what we think our intention is doesn't mean that we're not actually getting whatever it is, the gift. I love how you kind of mentioned that you give some ideas on how to craft the birthday wish.
Yes.
So yeah, maybe like speak a little bit about like the how to craft the birthday wish, because some people talk about manifesting or setting goals, right? It almost doesn't matter but I think this like can help in any of these arenas, whether it's the New Year's resolution, but like how to put out into the universe what the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have some great,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. Thanks for asking. I love this question. To me, the birthday wish is your gift from the universe. If it's the most spiritual day of our year, we're really in alignment. The universe is really open. The spirits, whoever is in alignment with it, it's all right there. So let's use our birthday as a way to wish for what we want in the coming year. And unlike a New Year's resolution where, okay, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to, eat healthy or whatever. It's not like that. This is really like, your birthday is a way for you to take stock of the life you're living and to ask yourself, is this the life I want to be living? And if it isn't, if it is, great. And if it
Yeah.
isn't, what do I want to change in the coming year, just the coming year, to
Mm-hmm.
help get more into alignment with what I want and the kind of life I want to live? So let's say I feel lonely. A lot of us
Yeah.
feel lonely, right? The more connected we are online, the more lonely we actually feel. So let's say I'm noticing that I'm feeling alone and lonely. And that my birthday wish might be, I want a more of a social life. So rather than saying, okay, my birthday wish, I want a more social life, before I do that, let me really think about ways, instead of having the universe just bring friends to my front door, what are ways that I can become more socially active in my community? One of the things that I've done, which was just instant community, was I went and volunteered at the local foster group in San Francisco, Muttville Senior Dog Rescue. Love them.
Mm-hmm.
They rescue senior dogs. They do great work. And when I've shown up to volunteer and I'm sweeping the piss off the floor, mopping the piss off the floor, I was just
Yeah.
delighted because all these dogs are
Yeah.
running around and there's people coming in and out and we all shared a common purpose. And
Yeah.
I didn't feel, there was no way I could feel lonely in a situation like that. And so let's think about ways that we can get more actively engaged in the community around us, in the society. And then think about, my wish is to welcome more social opportunities so that new friends can come into my life. But instead of saying, I want to have let's say the wishes, I want to have more friends.
Yeah.
Instead of keeping it saying like that, say, thank you for the friends that are in my life. Thank you for the friends that are coming to me.
Starting with some gratitude. Yeah.
Starting with some gratitude. Yes. Thank you for helping open up my world to be more social and letting new people come into my world through those ways. And so it's a co-creation. You're putting it in present tense. It's like, I will be social one day. You're not saying I will be one day, because that one day is always going to be in the future. You're saying, thank you for this, opening to being more social today, forever, right? So putting in present terms, and also offering up the gratitude, because you're thanking some force in the universe that's going to help manifest that for you. You're co-creating with your higher self. You're not solo on this journey. And acknowledging that there is some higher self at work there. I think I always say, I love, and I call my higher self all sorts of things. And I use the word God all the time. And I love, whatever words of the day I choose to use to reflect spirit. I love giving credit to spirit when good stuff happens. You know why? Because spirit loves being acknowledged. Spirit will do all sorts of things for you. They just want credit. Why? So that you can trust so that you can trust spirit even more to help you. If you can't point the finger and say, thank you, spirit, for helping me, then how do you know to ask spirit for more? So gratitude to spirit to help you have the life that you want to manifest, I think is a really important ingredient.
And it's one of these, because, I know some of my listeners are, everybody's at, different stages of their spiritual journey. And some people are still very much in the, like, what I see and and so
sure,
even if it's just like, oh, it's just my intuition or whatever that is. but it's like I don't move the sun, so it's like whatever that is, like I can ask that, and then if it works, I can ask again. I can thank it. So
Yeah.
all this stuff, you know, in my life, what really matters is does it work for me? Like if it doesn't
Yes.
work for everybody else, but it works for me, like I'm gonna do it. And I encourage
That's right.
everybody, like if it works for you, do it. If it doesn't, if it works for 99.9% of people, but it doesn't work for you, don't do it.
That's right.
Because living our personal lives is different than setting public policy. Like
Right.
we don't have to live our life like it's going to be for everybody. We can
Right.
have two different things. Like there's stuff I would say, yeah, that's probably bad public policy, but I'm going to do it in my own life because it works for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I love that.
yeah, so I
It's
would
true.
definitely encourage people to play with these. Like, what if it was
Yeah.
true? Because we
Well, and I
know,
just want to give you
yeah,
and so on my birthday a couple years ago, I'm just going
yeah.
to tell you the power of the birthday spirit. On the
Oh,
birthday spirit
yes.
is in full glory on your birthday. So I was with four people on my birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and actually there were five of us, and we were playing a game for the first time. And you have to play 13 rounds of the game for it to be a complete
Okay.
game. And
Okay.
it's a game of luck where you pull the card and then choice about which card you keep and which card you pass on. But you have to pull
Okay.
the card to
Okay.
get this one of those kind of things. So
Yeah.
luck is involved. So we started. I'd never played before. We played. It's my birthday. We played, and I won the first hand.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my birthday. The birthday spirit's alive and well. I won. Ha ha ha. We play again. I won the second hand.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what luck. We played the third hand, and I kept winning and winning and winning. I'm kidding you. I won 11 out of 13 of those hands.
Wow.
Nobody could believe it. I'd never played before. Nobody
Yeah.
could believe it, but I could because it was the birthday
Yeah.
spirit. I knew it was birthday magic. I knew it was. And I was so
Yeah.
happy I got to demonstrate it to the people at the
Yeah.
table because they were sort of like, oh, Tamar's so cute. She believes in these things, but actually it manifested right in front of everybody's
Hmm.
eyes. And how did I know it actually did? Because 2 days later, when we played again, guess what? Out of 13 games, I won one. I wasn't winning on a streak anymore. So it was
Yeah.
birthday magic, no doubt. So pay attention for the birthday magic. And it can even come when you turn on the radio. Whatever you listen to, turn it on randomly and let it sing to you. It's amazing what kind of songs will come through the radio on your birthday to sing just to you. Songs I haven't heard. I remember one year it was a song I hadn't heard in years came on the radio. And it just made me burst out crying. And then the next birthday, it came on again. And I hadn't heard it all year. I mean, it was really like, oh my gosh, you're totally telling me something, right? So there's little
Yeah.
miracles all throughout the day that if we can open ourselves up to them and allow ourselves to believe it's birthday magic operating on our behalf, it just raises our energy more and our capacity to believe in these invisible forces that have our best intentions at heart.
I love it. And I mean, there's science actually to back this stuff up, where, it's what we're looking for determines what we see in an experiment. Like the old quantum
Oh,
physics is basically, I think it's a photon of light. If you try to treat it like a wave, it'll behave like a wave. But if you try to treat it like a particle, it'll behave like a particle. So it's like,
oh,
what is it? It's
wow.
like, well, what are you looking for?
Wow.
And there's since been more studies on bigger things besides just a photon of light, but it's like our consciousness impacts the world around us. It's like if it works on these small things, and there's like I know you probably have heard this universal principle: as above, so below; as within, so
Yes.
without. So
Yeah.
it's like if it works at the smallest level, it's like why wouldn't it also work at the biggest levels of
Yeah.
the things that come into our lives?
And that's why I think it's really important to celebrate our birthdays as well as
Yeah.
we can, because I believe that when we have a happy birthday, a truly fulfilling, meaningful, happy birthday, and I'm talking meaningful and fulfilling. I mean, there are some of us that crave more depth in our lives and more fulfillment on a deeper level, and others that are like, I just want to party and have the cake and the gifts, and that's it. I'm not looking any deeper. And that's fine. We're all different. But for
Yeah.
those people that are craving something more, when you allow your birthday to be a portal for you to experience more alignment with your higher self, more alignment with your self-love, more alignment with your joy, it actually heals you. And when
Mm.
you become healed just a little bit, it makes you a kinder person
Oh
and it
yeah.
makes the world a better place. One person at a time, one happy birthday at a time.
I love that. I don't know. I feel like maybe that's a good place to end on. I don't know. Is there any other last words you want to say? Because that was just beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say that for everybody listening, I know you're going to have the range of listeners right here. People who are birthday avoidant all the way up to the birthday positive. No matter who we are and where we are on that spectrum, we can all have a happier birthday. It just takes planning and intention and creating the space for us to turn that energy up. And I invite everybody on your next birthday, whether it's near or far, to give yourself permission to play and experiment with your birthday energy and see what it can do for you. And I promise you, I guarantee you that you can have a happier birthday.
I love that. And it's really is, yeah, it's just one day can shift, your whole year. It shifts your life. And honestly, when your life is shifted, the world is shifted. It just is. It just is.
Yeah.
Try to have the same world when, you're having more joy and more love and more connection in your life. And, just all you got to do, you're only asking for people to put this work in for one day. That's all you're asking for. I love it. I love the simple ask. It's just one day, it's not even 1% of your time. It's less than 1%.
That's right. That's right. You got to plan for it. So it's not, you're not going to wake up on your birthday and say, okay, now what am I doing? Plan for it. So you got to put some prep hours into it for sure. Yeah. And I do believe you need to, but it's just one day that you're going to experience it.
Well, and the easiest way to do that prep is with Tamar's How to Have a Happy Birthday, or the companion workbook, which is also handy. So you're allowed to write in it. She said it's okay to write in the workbook. That's the purpose. So go to howtohaveahappybirthday.com for, information on how to get the book. I think you also have like some other tips that are available in there. So if people want to dip their toe in, but it's got the links to Amazon and all the other places to buy the book. So definitely do it. And we'll put links to your social media in the show notes. So good to have you on. Thank you so much for helping me have an even happier birthday, especially during, what was a challenging time. So thank you so much. And so glad to have you on tomorrow.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks for the warm welcome. And I'm delighted we could have this conversation today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Engineering Emotions and Energy with Justin Wenck, Ph.D. Today's episode resonated with you? Please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Your feedback not only supports the show, but also helps others find us and start their journey of emotional and energetic mastery. You can also help by sharing this podcast with someone you think will love it just as much as you do. Together, we're engineering more amazing lives.